It all began with a peculiar app update. Evelyn, a 22-year-old college student, was always the first among her friends to try out the latest features on social media. One evening, after a grueling day of classes, she opened an app that had just received an update. She noticed something strange, a new filter with no name, only an obscure, twisted symbol, a distorted, almost mocking smiley face with empty, hollow eyes. Intrigued, Evelyn activated the filter. The screen immediately turned a sickly, grayish hue, casting an unnatural, ghostly light over her face. The symbol hovered over her features, making her look like a faded photograph. Evelyn chuckled, assuming it was just another bizarre filter meant to go viral. She took a quick picture and sent it to her closest friends, Nick, Sarah, and Emma, with the caption, "This filter is super creepy, right?" Evelyn thought nothing of it and went to bed. But the next morning, the world seemed off. Nick didn't show up to their early study session. He was always punctual, so Evelyn assumed he was just running late. When he didn't answer her texts, she figured he must have overslept. However, by noon, there was still no word from him, and neither Sarah nor Emma had heard anything. When lunchtime rolled around, Evelyn went to their usual spot in the dining hall, expecting to see Sarah and Emma there. But their table was empty. She tried calling them, but both of their phones went straight to voicemail. A sense of unease started to creep in, but she brushed it off, deciding to check on them after her classes. That evening, Evelyn went to their dorm. The halls were unusually quiet, and a strange tension hung in the air. When she arrived at Sarah's room, she found it locked. After knocking repeatedly with no answer, she decided to check Emma's room next door. The door was slightly ajar. She pushed it open, only to find the room disturbingly empty. Emma's bed was made perfectly, and her desk was neat, as if she hadn't been there for days. The room felt lifeless, almost staged. A knot of dread tightened in Evelyn's stomach. She rushed back to her own apartment, her thoughts racing. As soon as she got in, she grabbed her phone and opened the app again, her fingers trembling. When she scrolled through her recent pictures, her heart nearly stopped. The image she had sent the night before, the one with the eerie filter, had changed. The symbol over her face was no longer a twisted smiley. Now, it resembled a tally mark. 4 vertical lines crossed by a diagonal slash, like it was keeping track of something. As she stared at the screen in disbelief, the faces of Nick, Sarah, and Emma in the picture began to blur and fade, their features dissolving into the gray background. It was as if they were being erased from existence. Panic set in. Evelyn frantically searched online for any information about the symbol or the filter. Hours passed as she combed through obscure forums and old threads. Eventually, she found a cryptic post buried in a tech forum from years ago. It mentioned a mysterious filter rumored to have been released by accident in an experimental update. The post claimed that anyone who used the filter would slowly disappear, along with anyone they shared it with. The tally marks, it said, counted down the number of people left before the curse completed its cycle. Desperate, Evelyn deleted the app, hoping to escape the nightmare. But the symbol haunted her, a constant presence in her mind, growing more oppressive by the hour. She started noticing strange things around her. Her reflection in the mirror would glitch, her face twisting into an unfamiliar, menacing grin. She heard faint whispers when she was alone, and shadows seemed to move just out of sight. Worst of all, the tally marks continued to appear in her thoughts, increasing in number every night, as if counting down to something inevitable. A few nights later, Evelyn was alone in her dimly lit apartment, trying to piece together what was happening. Her phone buzzed on the table, breaking the silence. She cautiously picked it up and saw a notification from an unknown number. It was a message. With her heart in her throat, she opened it. It was a picture of her own face, but something was terribly wrong. Her eyes were empty black voids, and her mouth was twisted into the same sinister grin as the symbol. Beneath the image, the caption read, "Final count." The next morning, Evelyn's roommate returned home after a weekend away. The apartment was eerily silent. She called out for Evelyn, but there was no response. Everything in Evelyn's room was in place. Her bed was made, and her belongings were untouched, but Evelyn was nowhere to be found. The only thing left was her phone, lying on the bed with the app still open. When her roommate tried to access the last message Evelyn had received, the app froze and the phone powered down, refusing to turn back on. Every attempt to reinstall the app failed, and the strange filter was gone without a trace. Over time, the memory of Evelyn began to fade, as if she had never existed at all. Some say that if you dig deep enough into the app's code, you might still find remnants of the cursed filter. Occasionally, a user will report a strange symbol appearing in their pictures just before their app crashes. But by then, it's already too late. So the next time you update an app or try a new filter, be cautious. You never know what might be hiding in the shadows of the digital world, waiting for someone to unlock it.